I scaled this e-commerce brand right here, a high-ticket e-commerce brand, to roughly $529,169 every single month in revenue, which is about $17,000 every single day in revenue. And in this video, I'm going to be going over my exact strategy and approach to achieving this level of scale and profitability so you can do the same for your own e-commerce brand. Make sure to watch this video until the end. Before we dive into the actual ad strategy, all that stuff, let's go a bit over the brand and understand exactly what it is. Now, this brand, I like to classify it as a gray area niche brand because it does sell alcohol within the United States only. Although alcohol is permitted within the United States, there are still a lot of restrictions that you need to follow when it comes to Google Ads. So when I was taking on this brand, I was a bit hesitant because again, I was not too sure what the level of scale would be with Google. They were achieving some level of success with Google, but it was far from where they wanted to go. And combining that with the overall restrictions the brand faced, it just didn't make sense in the beginning. But after figuring out how this niche worked, how this brand worked, we were able to make it happen. Now, interesting thing about this brand is they actually have a local store as well, along with the online store. So locally, they sold alcohol in the beginning, but over time, they understood that to really scale, they had to come online, which is why they started running their own e-commerce brand. But let's now go back into the numbers to understand a bit more of how this brand does overall. So in the month of June, we did roughly $558,713, which was an 8% increase from the previous month. Now, if we now change it to just last month alone in July, this brand did a bit less of $499,625, which again is still very close to $500,000 in revenue per month. And now, before we go into the ad strategy with Google, let's go over some landing pages, some sample landing pages to understand how we kind of decided to do the overall landing page structure, how we kind of directed them to lay out their landing page. Now, for this niche, the liquor niche, overall, you don't have to do too much extra in terms of kind of making the customer want to buy from you, because people who want to buy liquor, they're already addicted to that thing and they already want it regardless of how you frame your product. This is very simple to how we had laid out our own landing page. There's three options here where you can actually pick up this product in store. Now with our brand, because it's in a very small area within another state in the United States, this is not an option, but there are different ways of delivery which we do offer to our users as well. And this is kind of a little box which is visible on the website. If we scroll down, there's different sizes available, also something the brand we're working with offers. And then there's the quantity selector, the add to cart, followed by a frequently bought together. If we scroll down now, there's more to it. There's the description right here, just the product highlights, very basic highlights of what this product is, where it comes from, etc. And there's a bit more product details with these little bars right here, which tell you the overall strength of this liquor bottle right here. And then it also goes a bit beyond that and gives you actually food pairings of what you can eat while drinking this blue label liquor bottle right here. Majority of the brands out there, they would not even need something like food pairing section. However, you still want to do and offer customizations which are relevant to your niche, because that's what scales brands to these kinds of levels. But if we scroll down, there's more upsells and downsells, nothing too crazy here. There's a quick video of a specific product and some things related to the product, and it looks like it's a product that's not exactly this, but it's something relevant to it. And then this is followed by just reviews at the very bottom. Very simple setup, very straightforward. This is another brand which is very similar to ours as well. And the thing about these brands is the reason why it's adding a lot of extra complications is because it asks you this little question on the pop-up, which is, are you older than 21 years old? Because again, you're not able to buy liquor if you're under 21. And with Google Ads, this is a requirement. If you don't have this kind of pop-up, then you're not going to be able to sell on Google. Now, this brand also very similar in terms of the landing page to how we have laid things out. There's the buy one time option. There's a subscribe option here as well. Our brand also offers a subscription model and also a custom engraving model. So you can actually custom engrave something, some kind of text on the bottle itself, which I thought was very unique. Again, it's all about finding these small customizations which people in that niche would want. And then this is followed by talking about the location of where the product is, what the distiller is, etc. They're followed by the description and just more trust related factors like reviews, like you can add trust values like these. This is something we have done on our website here for this client as well. But the reality is, and for majority of the brands, by the way, not just this one, an extremely simple approach is what you need, because the customers there that want to buy that product, if you're in one of those niches where the customer must have that product, liquor or any type of other product that you need in your daily life, health related products, beauty products, most of these products are those that people already want. You don't need to really go above and beyond to convince them. But because of the simplistic approach, you will often see that your conversion rates are fairly low. And that is exactly the issue we saw here as well. This is the Google Ads again for this e-commerce brand. If we look at the overall conversion rates for this brand in the last 30 days, we can see the rates were about 1.34%, which is not the most extreme amount, but it is still fairly decent. And their website actually has a lower conversion rate because they also get traffic from other placements, which we'll talk about very shortly. But when we began work with this account, we noticed that because this was a gray area niche, there were a lot of policy violations, a lot of policy issues, just like those that are still here to this day, because alcohol sale is not always permitted, especially with search campaigns. So a lot of these ads do end up getting kind of restricted over time. And the best approach we did was to just rewrite the ad copies when we began with this brand, which was roughly 2.5 months ago. So we began working with this brand late April, early May. And during that time period is when our campaigns became live. And we basically, again, started with a very simplistic approach of just launching a campaign that is for the best-selling products and then launching a branded search campaign, because that is what the client really wanted to focus on. That's where they were making majority of their revenue from in the beginning. As you can see, the overall ROAS in the beginning, it was not the highest, only 2.18. This was also because the product feed was a mess, because no SEO work had been done here. If we go inside, even now, there's still a lot of products we still continue to work on to this day. But product feed is where we began the work, SEO, product titles, also fixing up all these product disapprovals, because during that time period, there were way too many product disapprovals, which was caused due to a variety of different issues, such as certain words included within the product titles, certain images, etc. Once we were able to fix up the product feed, once we really kind of wiped out the old product feed and kind of re-established things from the start, I will change this time period to show a greater time period, but things kind of took a little bit of a downward churn. So if we look right here, this is when we kind of began working on the product feed, and this is when the product feed fully came into effect. Our campaigns also came into effect. It looks like the overall kind of things took a downward churn. The impressions went down and the conversion value was also at an all-time low. This was bound to happen because this is what I like to call the de-optimization period, when a lot of the major things were changed and improved. This brings on a small de-optimization period because of the foundation getting fully kind of redeveloped and fully improved. So this was the time period when things took a downward turn and nothing was looking really that good. But one thing that was still there and that actually started to increase was the conversion value. I mean, during this time period, there were days when it would go up to $4,000 in revenue, which, by the way, the conversion tracking was off. It was double tracking. It was really only about $2,000 to $1,000 conversion value. The very next day it would drop all the way down to maybe $400. Once we focused on improving the product feed and the foundational work, that's when naturally there were more days when it just began to go upwards. I mean, there were still days when things would be on the lower end, but overall, if we look at the conversion value over cost, that's when things also started to take off. I mean, it went from a 2x ROAS on average to hitting 9x ROAS numbers, 3x ROAS numbers on the lowest amount. In reality, this was the average before. It would also go up to 4x ROAS, 8x ROAS, even 15x ROAS on certain days. This all happened because we fixed up the product feed. Now, the stronger your foundation, the easier it is to scale. We scaled up from barely spending $10,000 a month to now spending easily $33,000 in the last 30 days at a 4.65x ROAS. All because our first step was improving that foundation and making this scale truly happen. But Google Ads was not the only thing contributing to the sale. A lot of the extra revenue also was coming from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, just running basic image ads, not even video ads. They were also doing a lot of email and SMS remarketing, but it was just overall a basic setup, and Google is where things really started to come into effect and really go to the next level. Now, the strategy I want you to kind of focus on, and this is something you can implement for your own brand, is this simplistic approach of the 3-2 launch strategy. Now, this launch strategy basically 3 shopping campaigns. It was 2 standard shopping campaigns and 1 PMAX campaign, followed by 2 search campaigns, 1 brand search campaign and 1 dynamic search campaign. That was literally all we launched in the beginning when we began work here, because we knew that we did not want to go and do too much fancy things, because number one, fancy does not lead to more results. It just adds a lot of extra stress and hassle of work. But also number two, when you're in a gray area niche, you don't want to come under Google's radar by doing way too many things and trying to scale way too quickly, because that's when Google starts to really look at your ads under the radar and really kind of judge them based on even the smallest things and starts to disapprove them like they're starting to do now. This 3 to launch strategy, it was just 1 PMAX campaign with all of the main products in there, which were already proven. They were already getting majority of the results. It was like a testing campaign, which we started at a fairly high budget of around $500 a day back then. Then there was a catch-all campaign, which is running at a fairly high budget, but this catch-all campaign, the main purpose here was to test the remaining products which were not getting tested at a fairly high target ROAS or a fairly high bid. In this case, we started the standard shopping campaign on target ROAS basis, and if we look at the settings here, every catch-all campaign should follow something similar, by the way, where the target ROAS set, it's going to be extremely high. So we set it at 500%, and we did this on purpose because we wanted lower traffic numbers here, but we wanted more high quality traffic, and it ended up working wonders, because now this is our almost the second to the most spent ad campaign, and it's running at a 5.46x ROAS. The third one, branded search campaign, fairly self-explanatory. Fourth one was the dynamic search campaign, which in this situation was actually performing really well. It's running at a 4.23x ROAS. And then the final shopping campaign was actually like a test campaign. It's a low bid campaign where we're now testing the target ROAS versus a manual enhanced CPC campaign. And the enhanced CPC campaign, it's running on a very low bid limit of only 15 cents. So what we're trying to do with this campaign is we're just trying to kind of capture all those potential lost sales. But because the budgets were already pretty high when we started them, running at about $500 to $1,000 a day and spending that much, we were really quickly able to scale this ad account from that $1,000 a day budget to now spending roughly $2,000 a day and more consistently every single day. But that's the only strategy we use to then further scale, by increasing the budget and decreasing restrictions. That's pretty much it. Again, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go on my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.